Good morning and welcome to White Farmhouse Realty for part 2 of the Farmhouse Dirt episode about rental follies. We hope you're having a great week and we're here to kind of check in on everything. Becky's got a big weekend ahead, so she's going to start us off today with everything that's going on.
I do have a big weekend ahead in the city of Kearney. Kearney, we are headed your way. So district speech was over the weekend in Schuyler, and my son Sawyer qualified for state speech in 2 events. He was district runner-up in persuasive speaking, and he and his duet acting partner, Kinsley Metzler, were also district runners-up, so they qualified for state as well. So I'm representing a little bit here with my shirt from last year. I haven't got this year's merch yet. That's like right away on the list tomorrow morning. So we're heading down to Kearney this evening, and they will perform bright and early tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Kearney High School. And we just can't wait. It's so fun to go watch them compete. They've worked really hard all year, and speech is a special thing. Speech kids are awesome. I don't know how they do it. My son has memorized 2 entire speeches. One has all kinds of stats and all kinds of facts, and it's just really neat to watch them compete and flourish at what they do. And it just so happened that a while ago he had also auditioned for All-State Band, which is the equivalent of like the state basketball tournament for band kids. And he found out a while ago that he got into the All-State Band, which will also be in Kearney on Saturday this weekend. So it all kind of worked out good since we're heading so far out of town. We're just going to stay an extra day and have some fun on Friday. And then, we'll be there for his concert on Saturday. So fun times for the Brigham family. This is probably going to be our family vacation for the year. Let's face it. So
we really know how to party it up here at White Farmhouse. So Becky's just glad she gets away from us for a few days.
I gotta say, with the business and everything, with Tom's, it'll be nice to get away for a few days. So yeah. And I know you guys got it under control. So yeah, it'll all be good. So yeah, very exciting.
Yep.
So, and it sounds like the weather is going to hold out. I was really worried about it, especially after last week, but yep, it sounds like everything's going to be okay. So I'm really excited. So yeah, and great support from the staff here that are letting me go, and they'll take care of things while I'm gone a little bit. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Wait until she sees her pile on the desk Monday.
It's so funny you say that, because I was already thinking about that. I'm like, I might just pop down Sunday, because I'm also going to be gone Monday for something else all day. And then Tuesday is, April Fool's Day, of course, April 1st, and all the rent and everything's going to be coming in. And I'm like, I need to try to get ahead a little bit. So I might pop down on Sunday and look at my pile and then say, no, and run out the door. So it'll all be there. It'll be my April Fool. So
that's right. When it rains, it pours here pretty much.
That's
right.
So
we don't take any breaks, really.
No.
And we do want to shout out to the Wayne High speech team, too, under the direction of Mr. Speaker. You guys have had an awesome season as well. You're heading to state in many categories, and we are so proud of you as well. So our speech kids are doing great things in the area, and we are just so proud of those accomplishments. So keep it up. If you guys really want to, this would be a great format for presentations. If you wanted to volunteer as some guest speakers on our show, we could give you some real life experiences.
Absolutely.
So obviously no blizzards this week. Praise the Lord. We have, but just had an exceptionally wacky week again. It is the spring market. Things are getting crazy with home inspections and things that are needing to be addressed through closings and just all of the different nuances that come with a small town real estate business. And this is kind of the one-stop shop. I mean, we don't farm any of our stuff out to anybody else. So we're boots on the ground making it happen. And some days it can get a little overwhelming. But we've got a great support system here.
We do. Yes, we do. We get through it together. So
yeah. Some days we can get a little snarky with each other, and we just got to know, tomorrow will be better. So we're going to come back and try again. But yeah, it's moving right along. So let's keep the momentum going. Get everybody out there. We've got some rentals to fill, folks. So if you're looking for good quality rentals that are maybe a little bit less expensive than some of the newer quality things that are in town, we would be glad to help you there. And Maria and I and Sarah are all ready to get out there and show some houses and keep that momentum going too. So give us a call, because we can make some things happen for you too.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I know you've all been waiting for this because we got to keep this rental thing going. Last week we kind of ended on a note about water issues and water emergencies. And one of the water emergencies in particular that sticks out in my mind was when I was a very young, green, fresh real estate agent in Wayne, Nebraska. Now, keep in mind, I started this job right out of college. So I was literally the same age as a lot of our tenants at one point in time. And we had a little situation one night, and it was right after I had actually moved into my first house. And it wasn't at my house, trust me. But I had moved into my first house, and this young man who was new to town had gone out a little bit too much that night and got home about 2 a.m. and decided somehow that he was going to pull his shower head out of the wall of his apartment in the basement. So I get a call at 2 a.m, panicked, of course, because water is spraying everywhere, literally.
Yep.
And this is a 3-unit apartment complex. So in order to shut the water main off, you are shutting the whole thing down. And at 2 a.m, this isn't really the kind of thing that you call a plumber on. You shut the water off and you go home because nobody wants to come out and deal with that. So get this call at 2 a.m. Like I said, very young, very new to this business, but I was the one that lived here in town and I was willing to take on those responsibilities. And, it's all fun and games then because, you're young and fresh and not jaded by society.
That's right.
And show up at his apartment. I mean, the guy's in his boxer shorts, didn't think to put on any other clothes before I showed up. And I feel like I'm getting red. I'm still embarrassed by this whole thing. And yes, water was spraying everywhere in his bathroom. So luckily I had the foresight when I started doing this. And ever since, I usually try to show tenants and myself where the breaker boxes and the water shutoffs are in most of our houses. So I was able to get to the water shutoff with a little bit of finagling because, of course, there was stuff everywhere in the furnace room and got it shut off. And of course, I decided not to make the phone call to the other tenants in the unit to say water was off that day or that night because it was 2 a.m. Hopefully they were in bed, wink, wink, sleeping. So we dealt with it the next morning, but that was one of our water emergencies that really stuck out for me because, that was very early on in my unseasoned business practices.
At that point, Trish was like, do I want to continue with real estate / property management?
Well, and part of me was like, is this like a date or is this the new realm of dating we've gotten into in Wayne?
He was still in his boxers, so who knows?
So, yep, I usually had a knack for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but that's a good point. I mean, just like we've talked about before, to always know where the water shutoffs are, and that goes for our homes that are for sale as well, and also the importance of maybe talking them through how to flip a breaker. Sometimes an electrical thing can be something super simple, and we've had to do that before. Just go down and open up your box and walk them through how to do it, just to make big things not happen at their houses. So
right,
yep,
right, absolutely,
yeah.
Yep. So Marie, you had something about thermometers.
Yes, I had a situation in a rental unit where the refrigerator quit working. Of course, the tenant did not realize it until food had got rotten in the freezer and the refrigerator. So I always suggest, and I do it myself now, I put a thermometer in there so I know that it's at the right temperature because, refrigerators, they sometimes act up. And it's just a good way to know that the temperature isn't changing any before it's too late.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And the recommended temperature for a fridge, according to the FDA, is 41 to 42 degrees. So just so you know, that little fun fact of information. We often run into issues too with thermostats. And, sometimes a thermostat in a house for your furnace and air conditioning system won't be working quite right. And a lot of times it needs a battery in it. The funny part is that nobody realizes those do come apart and you can insert battery in them. So
it's like they're afraid to touch them.
Yeah.
And every thermostat is different. And there's different signals. So you know that the battery's going. If it's blank, that's a good one. Because
right.
it's totally
Right.
done. But if you pay attention, may get little clues before it actually completely goes out.
Yes.
And I read where it's recommended every 8 to 12 months. So if you make it to a year, then I would suggest put new batteries in.
Absolutely.
To be safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kind of like anything else that you have to use for battery operations in a house. So
Yep.
one of the more recent things that have come up with us is a lot of folks are getting away from using keys to access properties. They have either a garage door keypad or a door keypad to get into their home, or they have a smart lock where you can use a fob to get into the home. And so some of our renters are not even sure how to use keys. And I had one such experience last semester where the young man had been sent to his new apartment. He picked up his keys and we signed the lease and everything. And he called me and he's like, I don't know how to get into my house. And I mean, it was kind of eye-opening for me because I had no idea. I mean, I'm a product of the 1900s and I'm not afraid to say that. But you have to, sometimes even do a little bit of training on what we consider simple things, because we're in a new generation of smart homes, smart devices, and I'm still living in the dark ages. I'll be honest with you.
Definitely. I mean, even most of the cars they drive now don't have a key.
Mhm.
They
Yes.
have a push button or they have a fob or something else that starts
And
it.
every
So-
door is different. You
Yes.
got to kind of learn what
True.
I do just for showing houses is to turn it to see when I have the door open so I know which way to turn the key to lock it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It takes a little finesse. You gotta have a little bit of the right twist or the right pull on that key sometimes to get it in and out. And that is definitely a new thing that is becoming more prevalent for all of us. So,
Yes. Yep.
this week's episode is probably going to be a little bit shorter than what you're used to, and largely because we've just got so much going on. We need to get Becky on the road. She's got to get to Kearney. But we've got one really good story to kind of cap things off with what we've got going on here. And this too happened last year. Very first time in 20 years of this ever occurring. But we had some tenants who contacted us shortly after moving into their apartment, and they couldn't get their carbon monoxide alarms to stop chirping or going off in the middle of the night. And I was like, that is just so weird, because we make a habit of changing the batteries or upgrading them when tenants move in and out. And I knew the batteries had just been changed. And so I was just kind of dumbfounded.
At a loss. Yeah.
And they called 3 or 4 times, and finally I was like, okay, I'm going to come up and look at them, try to troubleshoot this before we send somebody of more stature than me. Sorry, this still is so fresh in my mind. I kind of walked through the house. Nothing was going off at the time when I was there, and nobody was home. But I go through the house, and I was like, okay, everything's functioning. I'm trying the test buttons. It's working like normal. Get down to the basement, and standing in the corner of the basement, there was evidence signs of a huge birthday party that had occurred there at the house. And in the one corner were these probably 2 feet tall hookah pipes. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, because I've never had experience with these
How
things.
about you, Marie? No, sorry.
They've got the long hoses attached to them, and they've clearly been used very recently in the home. There is evidence of some smoke odor and so forth. And I get to thinking to myself, was this room so full of smoke that possibly those carbon monoxide alarms were going off from the smoke? And I took a picture of the hookah pipes because like I said, I had to go back home and research what they were, because
Right.
I didn't know, and sent the tenants a message, and I said, why don't we try not smoking in the house first and then see if the CO alarms continue to go off? And I don't think we got a call after that, did we?
We didn't, because they're like, oh, darn it, that's in our lease. We're not supposed to be smoking in here. And we kind of narked on ourselves.
So that problem kind of solved itself. But it's just little things like that. Again, not judging anybody's life choices, could quite frankly care less. I made a lot of mistakes in college and did a lot of experimentation too. That's just part of growing up. So you guys do you, but man, you gotta like have some common sense about this.
If the carbon monoxide alarms are going off, it might be time to cut back a little bit.
Yes, indeed. So,
And I did have one time when the smoke alarms were on the ceiling going off, like chirping because the batteries needed to be replaced. And the tenant called and had no idea. They said, there's this round thing on my ceiling in my bedroom and it keeps talking to me. And I mean, at first I'm like, okay, wasn't quite sure what direction he was going with this. And then he's like, well, it's kind of making this chirping noise. And I said, oh, that's your smoke alarm. My what? Your smoke alarm. Remember, we talked about this when you signed your lease, that you need to change the batteries in there. And if that starts happening, and kid just was totally clueless that smoke alarm was there and what it was doing and that it was important. So walked him through that too. So
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, rentals are definitely adventure every day. And particularly this time of year, as we're having a lot of tenant transitions, getting a lot of informational emails, phone calls from people. We're always glad to help. And again, just use this as kind of food for thought for future endeavors and things that you're going to be doing with your rentals or at your rentals, because there are things that go wrong. And we are here to help with fixing those.
Yep.
This week's episode is sponsored by Titan Machinery with their big cups, because we are coming up on spring planting season, and my husband hates it when I mention him on the Farmhouse Dirt. So just wanted to give you a little shout out, Tim. Hi.
Stay tuned, because Trisha will probably be posting her planting logs on Facebook too. Everybody seems to get a kick out of those. So yep, there's always fun stories to go along with planting and harvest season both.
Yes.
So
how we figured out to both get into industries that have aligning busy seasons is beyond me, but we are the most crazy people come April, May, September, October, November. So we've got some good ones that often come out of that. So
we'll be looking forward to that. And we're looking forward to Marie's updates on her garden as well. So she was out working on the farm the other day, taking out some trees. So
yes, I'm getting excited. Favorite time of my year. And it's really been nice the last couple days.
It has. Spring fever.
And I got a garden that I can look from my kitchen window, but it's not dry enough yet. And of course, it's got to be the right temperature. Otherwise, if I put stuff in there, it's just going to sit there or rot.
Yes, we're getting there.
You have some things planted already.
Just in the house.
Okay.
I'm just experimenting with the light, and that's a whole nother chapter.
She's got grow lights, guys.
Yeah, watch out for some posts on that too. So
you see a glow coming from Marie's basement.
Okay, but tenants, you don't need to use this as a reason to try to grow your own things. Marie only grows legal vegetables.
What I can eat.
There you go. What you can eat. There you go.
Yep.
That's a good quality, good line to have. So.
That's right. And we're seeing some signs of some spring growth. Fall bulbs are coming up and things.
Yes.
So some fresh flowers are popping out of the ground. So that's always a good sign, seeing the robins chirping around.
Yeah,
so
very exciting. We'll see if I get to see the cranes this year in Kearney. We did see him on the way home last year. It was a little bit earlier in March for state speech last year. But yeah, we always look forward to that too. That's just such a neat nature thing. So yeah.
And those of you who are tuning in, Becky is looking for some good food places to eat while they're down there.
Yes.
Just a way to kind of get in some new experiences and stuff. So post them in the comments if you guys have any suggestions for things they should see, do, or whatnot while they're in Kearney the next 3 or 4 days.
Awesome. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else to wrap up our morning here?
I always call Wednesday hump day. So happy hump day.
We're almost over the hill, guys.
We are.
Just keep swimming.
We are.
We'll all make it through together. So thanks again for tuning in and have a great week. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome home.